In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, one God. Our second gospel rendering is that wonderful story when Jesus went to a city called Nain. And there was a funeral procession. The only son of a widow. And Jesus stopped the procession, telling the mother, "Do not weep." And he called the young man, "Rise up." Touched him, took him by the hand, and gave him alive to his mother. And of course, the people all cried out, "God has visited our city." Well, you know that we all can be in continuing this idea of the Christian philosophy of life based on the Gospels. Jesus gave us an example of compassion. Compassion is co-suffering. Co-suffering. Who did not, this past while, feel for that young lady that they found in the desert, dead? Everyone was anticipating, is she still alive? Or is she dead? It seemed like the whole world was engulfed in a compassionate wanting for this young woman, 22 years old. And there's a lot of crazy stuff around this story. But all of us were and when they found her dead, we were all so sad that this young life was snuffed out. Our world needs our compassion in all circumstances. Of course, you may say, one may allege that it's easy to have compassion at a distance. You know, we didn't know the girl, or we know her on television, so we can all have compassion. It's much more difficult, as the French would say, face en face, in person, face to face, to have compassion. Close up, when someone is suffering. One of the great Christian acts that we can do in imitation of Christ, and there was a book written by Thomas A. Kempis called The Imitation of Christ. And St. Paul tells us to be imitators of him. How can we be imitators of him? And how is this a way of living a Christian philosophy? Well, we can all volunteer at a cancer center to go and visit people who are suffering from cancer and give them a touch of grace by your compassion and by your love. That's why I said in my previous discussion, the act of reaching out for others is transformative because you rise above yourself. your better self comes forward. Your better persona emerges. When you reach out and touch a child or anyone who is hurting in the hospital, at home. So many people tell me, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time. Well, people have time to make money and do their social engagements. How much would it take out of one's day to take time out and visit the palliative care units in the hospital? Or just going to the hospital itself and visiting. Giving out whatever it is you can give. There are so many ways that you can show yourself to imitate Christ. I've seen people, I have many, many stories, but there was this lady from Egypt, and she was the first woman to get a degree from the University of Damascus. Her name was Nagar. She was hunched over, really hunched over. And she came from the end of the city to come to church every Sunday. She was, oh, what a wonderful woman she was. Well, one day I get a call that she's dying and she's in the hospital. And so I go to the hospital, and the doctor says, when I asked what was happening, he said, she's basically gone. And it happened to be, this was during the Easter service. So I walked into her room, and I began singing Christ is Risen in Greek. All of a sudden, she rose up and she started singing with me. And we did it again. She came home from the hospital and lived a while longer. But it was stunning to hear this lady singing in a very weak voice, Christos Aneste, Christ is risen. She was touched by the grace of the risen Lord. You know, God works through us. We may not think he does, but he really works through us. You know how many lonely people there are out there? One should go to the priest's office and find out how many people do they have on their registry that are living alone, and get a list. Grab a few of your friends together and make it your business to go and visit these people that are all alone. Do you know that one of the things that elderly die from is malnutrition? So sometimes older people forget to eat. And what would it be to take a meal or organize like a meal on wheels to the shut-in and the elderly that are living alone? There's nothing worse than being alone. Nothing. But you could organize a group of women and men, young men, your students, to show them what it is to give, to go to these institutions, these hospitals, to these homes, and touch people with the grace of your presence. They see God through what you do, because they know your act of kindness is motivated by God. And this is transformative, to go beyond yourself. How many people do you know in your area who have lost someone? To go and comfort the widows, to go visit these folks who have lost a loved one, a husband or a wife or a child. There's so much goodness that we can give in this world. Christ gave us a model of action. We raise up by what we're doing and touching people with grace. We raise them up from the dead of loneliness, hurt, or pain. We raise them up from the dead of wondering, why? The big why, which I've heard all my life from people. We raise them up from the dead of so much pain. The pain of, again, I repeat, of loneliness. You give them hope. You give them love. What a magnificent way to be a Christian in today's very indifferent world. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, one God. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button on your iPad, your iPhone, or whatever. Put also the subscribe button. Please subscribe. And push the notification so you'll know when we do these videos, when they come out. Thumbs up, subscribe, notification. Remember those three things. And I'd be very grateful. God bless you.